first of all, I would like to thank the organization for inviting me. I think I'm a bit strange person to be here in such an industry event. But I have a story to tell, and I would like to share with you. And I will try to explain why I think that the metaverse will unfold completely for Generation Alpha. So, as it was introduced, I'm the founder of Trendwolves. We're a trend agency focused on youth culture, driven by youth culture. I do this now for 15 years. Yeah, you know, due to my kids, I went into Generation Alpha, but I will come there. So I would like to start with a trend which I called hyperphysicality. And it's quite amazing to see so many people here again, because a lot of things changed in our mindset. You know, we come from a time that we said, do we have to do this digitally? You know, at meetings. Towards the time now, do we have to do this physically? Yes, so we changed really from the fear of missing out into the fear of going out. So we're in this strange period after the pandemics. And I strongly believe if you do something in the real life, physically, that you really have to go into a very deep physical impression. Now, what you see here is from Airbnb. It's a place to stay. It's the house of Winnie the Pooh. So you sell an experience. Yeah, so I think it's important. Knowing as well that almost 70% of the people workers after the pandemic said that they don't want to work full-time in the office anymore. And that you still have on the retail level, 20% less footstep entrance. So it's really an issue. So I was telling about Trendwolves. We're a trend agency. And of course, we work on youngsters, youth culture. And we go where the cool kids are. So, you know, you're all the cool kids. So we went into the metaverse as well. So one of the things we're doing is trend research. Yeah, it's going a bit quickly because if I have to show 300 pages, I have to speed up a bit. I have only 20 minutes. So the thing is that, you know, we do this kind of trend research, and the trend research is not on, of course, on mainstream young people. You know, we do research amongst, let's say, youngsters that are a bit avant-garde, a bit in front. We have them worldwide, and we work with them on different topics and different campaigns. So one of the topics we did a while ago together with a lot of Belgian musea was Crypto Art Expo, which was a project that we did just to support young artists. And you know, it went quite big because we could work together with an out-of-home advertiser that was like exposing the works of the artists outside. So from one thing came another, and then we ended up in BitBrussels, which is a Web3 Metaverse inspiration event we did for the first time this year. And we intend to do another one later this year with a lot of partners, explaining all things, the Web3 potential and metaverses towards governments, brands, and companies. So as I said, you know, when we do research, we don't go for the mainstream youngster. You know, we go from young people that are a bit in front, and we dive deep into, let's say, their aspirations, their needs, their fears, their projects, in which we try to unfold the future. We often say, you know, they have the future in them, but they don't see it yet. So we try to find patterns in the things they're doing. We have a couple of methodologies we use for that. We call this kind of little kind of trends trills, early stage trends that we describe in our trend reports. For young people, as we know, they're quite informed. Generation Z is a quite well-informed group. There's not something like a one-size-fits-all. You don't have the youngster. So if you want to target them, there's not something like, one prototype. They often have like a quite, specific perspective on the future, which is interesting, to take with you. They often come with very inspiring solutions, so they really have this kind of stuff, where they really want to solve things that are very important for them at that moment. Yes. So I always felt, now working with young people through all my career, that they bring innovation, that they're constantly working on this new stuff. And this is what we try to unfold, describe. This is what we try to do at Trendwolves. Of course, the digital very strong, and the sky isn't the limit. They're very ambitious, which is very an issue as well. I show this picture because I think it's important as well. In the margin, for young people today, something came along which was not there in previous generations. Yes, the internet. And you have to understand, when young people are building or are really they're building their identity, they really can go to the internet and shop in a shopping mall of styles. Yes, so they really have a lot of choices, things they can try out to create different kind of personalities. Coming to the point of generations, and the concept of generations, perhaps interesting to know. We studied it already for a long time, but generations, it's not science. It's not rocket science as well. It's just a very handy way of looking at groups. Groups that are often defined by 15 years, so we often work on millennials, which we call Generation Y. Millennials are a more American approach, of course. It's like the children born around the millennial. We call them Gen Y. Then you have Generation Z from 1995 on, and then Generation Alpha born after 2010. So the interesting thing as well is when you look at generations, I will go back, that generations, are often defined by the values they get from home. We're all children from our parents. Yes, you get certain values from home, and you take them with you all the way, all your life. You're inspired by the previous generation, which is interesting as well. The brothers and sisters, they inspire the next generation. Yes. And of course, the context in which you grew up in is very important as well. For children these days, the pandemic is from huge importance. Suddenly, their parents were at home, working from home, remotely. They had, like lessons, constantly online. So in their formative years, it's that the years that are so important for you, they got a lot of new information that will be very important in unfolding the metaverse in the future. Yes, because they were forced in that metaverses. They could not go to the playground anymore. They were forced into that social playgrounds. Yes, like Roblox and so on. Interesting to see as well is that the young parents of today, the so-called Gen Y, they're a bit stuck in between two feelings. On one side, they're very enthusiastic about tech, because it's like they grew up with Facebook, and this compulsive sharing, very interesting. They constantly want to share stuff, but on the other hand, they're a bit anxious about what with tech and our children. Don't they use it too much? Should we not have like rules? So this is a very interesting contradiction we have there. So I'm finishing my book on Generation Alpha, and it's an interesting story. Why? Because I was always doing like youth marketing campaigns for bigger organizations. But then it ends up, I got a daughter, and when she was 9, one day she said to me, hey, Papa, will we go to Legoland in London? And I said, Legoland in London? Why? And she said, yes, my friend Max told me that Legoland in London is very cool. And I thought, your friend Max? I didn't know that guy. It appeared that Max and his sister Katie were kidfluencers. Yes? So what do kidfluencers do? What do kids do? They do what kids do. They go to such parks, they, unbox toys, they play with it, they play with slime, with Lego, with all this kind of stuff. So she got inspired by these kidfluencers. So of course I know influencer marketing. I was always in it. But suddenly noticing that your own child is influenced by other children, made me a bit stand in dubio, of course. So that's why I decided to write a book to see what's all going on. And this influencers, the kidfluencers thing, is a real thing. You have a lot of stuff going on these days worldwide on kid tech, so-called kid tech. We have a big group in London working on kid tech. Everything that is related to protection of children. I have a big group working on that. We all know this guy, of course. Ryan. He had Ryan's Toys Review, and he had a lot of channels. Just to explain a bit, Ryan, he unboxes toys, he plays, and this kind of things. I had a look again, I think in 19 or 20. He earned 18 million from YouTube, or almost 19, and the same amount only with selling stuff, yes, merchandising. I think he has about 31 million followers on YouTube, something like that. It's quite big. And this is a thing, of course, too. We live in a visual society. And I was telling about Gen Y and how they look at children and technology, but this is happening, of course. Children are not there yet, but they already have a life online. And it's something we really should think about. I think the whole industry, I think we should think about, do we want this? Do we want a future like this? Because we all know that there are issues related to that, which is called sharenting. Yes? An overload of sharing information about your children. I can assure you that it may be funny to take a picture of your son full with chocolate on his mouth when he's 8 or 9, but it's not funny when he's 16 and 17 and this picture shows up again. He will really not like you anymore. Yes? So you should be aware. And of course, we all know, the whole data industry is following us. What are the numbers? When you're 12, there are 70,000 data points gathered from a child. It was measured by Barclays that by 2030, sharenting could account up to 7 million incidents of identity theft and over 800 million in online fraud. Crazy. And it might be scary, but perhaps it's an idea to create a business around it, of course. Yeah? So 2010, the year of Generation Alpha, is an interesting year because you had a lot of new virtual worlds popping up, like this one, Minecraft. And something very interesting happened with Steve Jobs, of course, because Steve Jobs, in his hardware cycle, presented the iPad in 2010. And the interesting thing is that we all, me as well, thought, this is an interesting tool for my kid, educational. What happened since then? Every second, 2 children go online for the very first time since 2010. 40% of the new internet users, 40% of the new internet users are children. It's crazy. And let's be honest, the internet is not made for children. It's not made for children. So what you see on Children 2 and everything that's related to visual and visualization, they don't want to become like doctor anymore or pilot. 75% of children are saying, they want to become a YouTuber. Of course, they saw their brother watching PewDiePie. what I said, on generations. And they could see that you can earn money, in the creator business, that you can earn money from doing things from your passion. So this is amazing. They saw it, and you see it too. When you ask children, you have a lot of research. If they have a crazy entrepreneurial mindset, which is good, I think. They have tech. So I'm very positive on children and the future. And they spend, of course, a lot of time on YouTube. It's not only them, but their parents as well. You see that, especially daddies are using YouTube a lot to get input on how to raise their children or what to buy for them. So YouTube is huge, not only for, let's say, the children, but for the parents as well. They go to YouTube, yes, to search which gifts and which things to buy. And there will a lot. 2 billion in 2025. This is 2,000 million. It's crazy. A lot. There were never so much children. Never. They're active. And they have something which we all know, everybody that has children, who knows children, which is called pestering power. Do you know pestering power? So you go with your child to the shopping mall, and you enter and you say to your child, no, you don't get this candy. And then they have some mechanism in their head when they ask 10, 20, 30 times again for that candy. They go out with that candy. Yes. So if they use that pestering power to protect the planet, I think we're good. Of course, the technology, they're very driven. They're very aware of technology. They grew up with it. I often say, it's what I noticed too in our research and the things we're doing. Creativity these days is supported by tech. It's driven by tech. Creativity is supported by tech. You don't, I hope I will not offend anybody, but it's like the common joke. You don't have to study to become a designer if you know Canva. Yes? What do you see, if I look at children of that age, they take movies from YouTube, they cap and cut them, cap cut, and in no time they drop a movie online again. In no time. It's crazy. They never studied to become a film editor. They do it in 5 minutes. So all this technology is enabling kids to become more creative. And they're with a lot. So we're going into a very crazy, creative future driven by tech. Gender equality, not an issue for them anymore. And good that we changed. Anybody know this picture? Do you know what it is? Yeah. Who is it? Yes. It's the original, playboard from the 70s. If you have a good look, 4 women on the board. Just to explain that we changed a bit. Yes. Okay. I was talking about Roblox. Yes, as well. Which is, huge. I think in the pandemic year, they went from 80 million into 200 million users. Yes. You all know Roblox? Yes, the virtual world. For children, basically, they can play, they can swap paths, they can build universes. Crazy tool. And of course, the brands are there too. And I will show you what's happening. There's no music in it, but this is one of the brands that is there. And it's specifically for kids, of course. So what are they doing? You can learn there, you can do things, you can express your style in Vans. Okay, we all have the picture. Nike does it too, Nike Land. They have a big audience. And what do? This is the interesting thing. If kids all pick the free t-shirts there, and 50,000 of them are picking that free t-shirt, why not to bring it in real life? You know, it's crazy. Discovery marketing, crazy. They use it for discovery marketing, of course. LinkedIn, Nike is another example. That's why these metaverses, especially to children, are so huge. And of course, is Tim Sweeney saying that the metaverse has the potential to become a multi-trillion-dollar part of the world economy? Of course, because he owns it. But, you know, I want to repeat my quote from the beginning. I'm very sure that it will unfold to its full power, given the fact that children are forced in their formative years in these worlds. E-commerce, this is IMVU, which is another on creativity, it will really be something for them. And this is an important thing as well. I think the medium is the message. It's not something I invented. It's from McLuhan. And in a way he said, the channel you use influence the awareness and the information, how you look at it based on the channel you use. So children are already in it from now. So together with their formative years, it will have a huge impact. For metaverse commerce, I think we all understand that in the future, e-commerce will be in the metaverse. I think it's quite obvious that it will be there because children are buying already online in their Roblox, in their Minecraft, clothes, digital fashion, weapons, whatever. They have the habit. Tokens. They use tokens. They need Robux to buy stuff. So they're really into it already. Yes. So, we're forming a whole metaverse generation for the moment. This was cool stuff. I was involved. I was invited on something from the Boson Protocol, which is amazing initiative on the metaverse and commerce. But for learning and development as well, children are in it as well, building houses. So this is my thing on Generation Alpha. Thank you for your attention.